So we're getting into some weekend warrior tactics here. I don't know about you, but I play most of my war games, most of my wargaming, Battletech, 40K, Wings of Glory, Judge, Dread Miniatures, all that stuff, Ancient, Historics, on the weekend. That is the gaming time, which means I spend all week scheming, strategizing, and planning what we're going to do. And I lay it out in stone. I'm ready to go. Friday night, I'm like, this is a better idea. What if we do this? What if we change that list I've been thinking about all week? And this is compounded depending on, this is why I like a lot of smaller games. I mean, I love big battles. I love the social aspects of it. 3, 4, 5, 6 players on each side. You can't recreate that. Joining all of our models together in some amazing miniature crusade. But that said, you lose that game. That means I got to deal with that sting all week. And depending on who I lost, my friends, I love you guys, but some of you out there sending me obnoxious texts all week, how like you beat me down and stuff. I got to sit there and take that all week and wait a week for revenge. That's why I love to play a lot of smaller games. But what I'm looking to do here is push out some weekend wargaming tactics illustrated through the currency, through the DNA of the games that I play. And if you play these games, it's going to help you immensely because you can utilize some of those units or play around with some of those tactics. But even if you don't play the systems that I'm going to relate them to, the fundamentals are there. The fundamentals are there for you to take it, right? Immortality is yours. To take it, utilize it, make it better. So I want to look at, with the idea being you think about it all week, then you go to Saturday to play your games and you just crush your opponents and they're just defeated utterly and totally all week while you bask in the glory. That is the plan. So we have, as I defined, an alpha unit. An alpha unit, and we're going to be exploring this concept in action through Battletech, the Shrek PPC carrier. An alpha unit could be a single model or a bunch of infantry or an element, depending on the game system, that is very potent. It is very powerful. It is something that not only can you can't ignore it on the table, you need to deal with it turn one. You need to deal with it turn one. And if you're facing it. If you're utilizing it, you want to take advantage of that momentum, and turn one, you need to immediately utilize it. So the Shrek PPC carrier in Battletech, it's a tank with 3 PPC cannons. These do 10 points of damage, and which is good. Most Battletech weapons, if we're talking about the Succession Wars, Fall of the Star League type stuff, do anywhere from 2 or 3 points up to maybe 20 points. So 10 is up there and it's consistent. So we take 3 of these PPC cannons, mount them on a turret, mount them on a tank for battle value points that is less than getting 3 PPCs on a mech. And what makes this tank so terrifying is the fact that it is able to fire these 3 PPCs every single turn at a target. One of the internal balancing factors of Battletech is the idea of heat. So we have these, and we're looking at my Shrek PPC carrier here, trying to lay down the smackdown here against House Davian, recover some lost tech. But there's this balance, this internal balance in Battletech with the mechs, the war machines, giant kind of robotic war machines piloted by a mech warrior. They're powered by fusion reactors. And as they utilize their weapons, as they move around, as they access certain systems, heat builds up, the internal heat. And it has coolant systems and heat sinks, so you dissipate some heat. But it's very easy to generate more heat than you can expel. And as the heat scale goes up, it slows down your mech, it messes with your systems. It may get so hot it cooks off ammo and it explodes. Or internally, the fusion reactor might trip and you power down for a bit. So heat management is a key component in Battletech. So you might have all these guns, but you can't fire them every single turn. The Shrek can. So you have a powerful gun. You have the ability to fire 3 of these every turn. So we have redundancy, we have damage dealing. And further with the turret, another challenge in Battletech, why it's such a key positioning type game, is the facing of your mech is important. I mean, these machines are pretty nimble for what they are. The size comparison. If you look at them, I believe this is for Railroad Modeling Z scale. So you can also see some infantry. Those are those little round circles with 6 little figures on it. That represents 1 infantry soldier per figure. That's crazy. consider the size of the tank, consider the size of a mech. So these massive war machines, they are very nimble, but they can't really turn that fast. So you need to anticipate where your opponent's going to go. You need to lead them with your weapons. If you're facing one way, that's it. In the movement phase, you're locked into that. The Shrek can move 360 with that turret. Very powerful. So it's an alpha unit. You put one of those down, you put two of those down, your opponent can't ignore it. Now, in full disclosure, look, I get upset when my models get blown up. I don't like to put something down and then you shoot at it and it blows up, but that's the nature of wargaming. I have played with a few people that totally rage quit when you destroy certain models of theirs. Just crazy. And you model anger management, right? Some of us might be dealing or struggling with that if we're new to wargaming. But look, you're going to lose models and then you're going to bring them out next week. I mean, all the years I've been playing 40K, and I'm playing Terminator heavy. I love Terminators. I have sent thousands. I have wiped out entire chapters. Entire Forge worlds cannot restock the amount of Terminator suits that I have lost, either through glorious charges or just some really awful ideas in playing, trying to make stuff happen. But it's going to come back next week, right? You're going to get your models back. So we shouldn't be upset when they get destroyed. But there is this idea of you have a powerful alpha unit. You put it out there, and your opponent brings so much hate, so much volume of dice to it, they try to blow it off the table as quickly as possible. Now, this is a hard thing to get past, but if we think about it, in the case of the Shrek PPC carrier or other things you might have depending on your gaming system, I put that tank down. Are you really going to let me dish out 10 to 30 points of damage with no heat consequences every single turn? 4 turns, 5 turns, 6 turns, 7 turns, 8, 10, 12. You can't do that. And the further reason why the Shrek is beast is because when playing on a traditional wargaming table with Battletech versus Hex Map, which is WYSIWYG, that tank, it's got a low profile. It does. You park that behind a little hill or some rocks. It's easy to get cover on compared to some of the light, medium, and heavy mechs that are pretty large out there. So there's a lot of advantages to playing this. The game from last week, an amazing game of Battletech. I mean, it's just crazy Battletech. And my plan was, the board that we were playing on was very hill dependent, 2 or 3 level hills, a light mixing of forest here and there, and a couple of open spaces. So right away, my plan was, I need to bring the Shrek to bear. I'm going to get on top of one of those hills, or at least to level 2. So now I have elevation. So now the range on a PPC is pretty long in terms of inches or hexes on the table. So on that turret, I'm going to project out a 360-degree field of fire. Anything that shows its head, any mech that pops up, I'm going to blast. I'm going to zap. I'm going to smoke. I'm going to do it. And my infantry, my jump infantry, laser jump infantry, they're going to form like a triangle around the Shrek. They're going to be a little bit of a backup in case a light mech or some other mech tries to go in there. Just as a discouragement. That's going to free up my other mechs, in this case a Blackjack, a T-Bolt, and Battlemaster. Can't go wrong taking a Battlemaster. They're going to be able to be detached and kind of move forward and try to do whatever they're going to do for the mission. So I bring that Shrek up there. I'm forcing my opponent to shoot at it. And the Shrek, it got mad hate throughout the game. We've got a catapult launching long-range missile, 15 packs at it. The picture here we're looking at, the Grasshopper comes out at the side. I'm like, I'm going to smack down that hopper. I'm laying PPC fire. It's laying down large laser and LRM 5-pack fire. I got a Spider running an endgame on me, getting up there and shooting at it. The Shrek took 3-4 turns of major firepower. I mean, front armor getting hit. Now, I did put my front armor parked out where most of the shots are going to go, but I took a stabilizer hit. I took a turret hit. I took some motive hits. It just wasn't going anywhere. At the same time, I'm trying to cut down on the movement flying modifiers. I'm parked. I'm not going anywhere. So I'm at short to medium range on the PPC. I'm cutting down those dice. I have no movement modifiers making it harder for me to hit. I'm putting that out. Eventually, it's bail out. Shrek goes boom, boom, blows up. There was a tactical advantage in there. We can look at it from the perspective of, I am going to be hyper aggressive and force my opponent to deal with this alpha unit. They're going to have to respond by dedicating a lot of their units. So I had a spider, I had a grasshopper mech, and I had the catapult. 2-3 turns dedicated shooting on that carrier. That leaves opportunity. In theory, if I can capitalize it, if you can capitalize it with your other units, what was my Thunderbolt doing? What was my Blackjack doing? What was my infantry doing? And what was the Battlemaster doing? That's 3 turns. So if you have this alpha unit that you aggressively punch and push out there and force your opponent to deal with it, yes, you're getting a little stressed because it's taking mad firepower, it's taking hits, it's getting damaged. You paid a lot of points, you want to be able to utilize it on there, and now it's going to get blown up. And of course, it's trying to dish out damage. But in the meantime, those turns where all those other guns on the table are not shooting at your other units. This is the question I ask, and the question we look in the moment to gain that momentum. What are you using? It's like an agreement where it's like, look, I'm going to be so busy shooting your Shrek, I'm not going to shoot at your other stuff for 3 turns. How are you going to utilize that? That's the hidden currency. That is the kind of ever-moving momentum, something that theory hammer, math hammer, analysis of points. You know, I could have analyzed it and said, okay, for every PPC hit that the Shrek dishes out and blasts off 10 points, 10 bubbles of armor, divide that by the battle value of the mech, and then divide that by how much battle value the Shrek cost, and I come up with a number of points. If it's more than the Shrek, it made its point. You can look at things that way. And you should analyze hardcore math hammer on your list. It's very eye-opening in terms of efficiency. But there's a hidden currency that we can't qualify or quantify. Qualify and or quantify that we're looking to tap into. And when you take an alpha unit could be, whatever, maxed out death companies storming out of something. Alpha unit could be Battlemaster running forward. Alpha unit could be a bomber, World War I, Wings of Glory bomber, with multiple gunners just heading forward. You know where I'm going to drop the bombs. I'm going to fly over your AA. I'm just going to fly right in there. Go ahead, stop me. You might not, but while you're dedicating your 6 other planes to trying to shoot down my bomber, my escort planes, what are they doing? That's something I'd like us to be aware of. That is something, regardless of your system, that I am looking to always capitalize on. And of course, in the moment when you're rolling dice and having fun and blowing stuff up, it is a little bit challenging to do. So that is the weekend mission. That is your Weekend Warrior mission, to begin to identify, begin to create, and to begin to experiment with in your gaming system.